All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Let's just jump right in today, because they're looking at something that absolutely flips our standard view of nature completely on its head. Usually, when we think of the wild, our brains go straight to that whole survival of the fittest thing, right? We're picturing brute strength, lightning speed, razor-sharp claws. But what if I told you that nature's top-tier apex predators actually spend a huge chunk of their lives starving? Yeah, it's wild. There's the stunning reversal in nature, where the absolute weakest are actually the ones thriving, while the heavyweights are often just struggling to get by. Today, we're unpacking the paradox of provision.
So this naturally brings up a really fascinating question. Are the strongest in nature always the best fed? It sounds super simple, but honestly, it challenges some of our deepest assumptions. We just kind of assume that if an animal is at the very top of the food chain, it's living this life of absolute luxury, right? Like power automatically equals a full stomach. But, well, when we actually take a closer look at the natural world, that whole assumption just completely falls apart.
Think about a mighty apex predator, let's say a lion. Despite all that immense, terrifying power, they actually go hungry a lot. Actually, lions can fail up to 80% of their hunts. 80%. They are burning massive amounts of energy, missing their targets, and constantly stressing about their next meal. Now, flip the script. Contrast that with a newborn infant. A baby animal is entirely, literally helpless. It can't hunt, can't defend itself, it can barely even move. But it is perfectly nourished. The sustenance literally comes straight to it, perfectly formulated for its exact biological needs. It's like nature provides room service just for them.
So the crucial takeaway we're seeing here is this. Sustenance is clearly dictated by something entirely different than just physical power. Think about it. If sheer power was the only currency out there, the newborn would starve instantly, and the mighty predator would always be fat and happy. But we're seeing the exact opposite play out. This really tells us that the way provision is distributed out there isn't just some simple equation of who has the biggest muscles or the sharpest teeth. There is something much more profound organizing how life actually gets sustained.
Section 1. The second truth and provision.
Now, there's a profound simplicity to this observation. I actually want to read this quote slowly because it really is the anchor for our whole explainer today. Provision is given to every living thing, from the most helpless to the strongest. The best provision is given to the weakest, most helpless. Notice that distinction there. Sure, everyone gets provision, but the best provision, the stuff that's the most accessible, perfectly tailored, and basically effortless, that is reserved entirely for those who cannot fend for themselves. Nature's system fundamentally, deliberately prioritizes the helpless.
The Islamic scholar Bediüzzaman actually illustrates this brilliantly with a really specific comparison. Let's look at the cunning fox and the monkey. Now, these are incredibly intelligent, highly agile, physically capable animals. They've got the brains to scheme and hunt. But guess what? They spend their entire lives in this stressed-out, anxious struggle just to survive, often staying pretty thin and constantly living on edge. Now, look at the uncunning fish. A fish is, relatively simple. It definitely lacks that high-level cunning, yet it swims around in this massive ocean of provision, literally growing fat, without anywhere near the intense intellectual struggle of the monkey. So high intelligence and physical capability actually correlate with a harder struggle for food here. It's almost hilariously ironic when you really think about it.
So if we pull all these observations together, we're left with three massive takeaways. First up, provision is inversely proportional to power. Basically, the more power and independence you have, the harder you're going to have to work for your meal. Second, sustenance is directly tied to need. The absolute desperate need of a helpless infant is exactly what triggers the highest level of provision. And third, and honestly, this is the really big one, it appears as a conscious balancing act. This whole reverse proportion thing, it doesn't look like random ecological chaos. It looks like a highly deliberate, intentionally designed system that makes absolutely sure the weakest aren't left behind.
Section 2. Compensatory balance in ecology.
You know what's fascinating? Modern biology actually recognizes this exact same phenomenal pattern. Biologists often talk about dynamics like this using the term compensatory balance. This is basically an ecological dynamic where biological disadvantages, like say being a completely helpless newborn or a super simple organism, are actively offset by systemic support to ensure equilibrium. In plain English, the ecosystem, or the biological systems of the parents, literally overcompensate for what the weak are lacking. This scientific concept beautifully grounds the philosophical ideas we were just talking about right into established ecological reality. The system is literally built to support the disadvantaged.
Section 3. A divine guarantee from the Qur'an.
And that brings us to the ultimate synthesis of our explainer today. We've looked at the natural observations, the philosophical framework, and the modern ecological terminology.
Now, let's look at the theological foundation underpinning all of this. There's a divine guarantee found in the Qur'an, specifically in the Ankabut Surah, chapter 29, verse 60. It says, "How many a creature carries not its own provision? God provides for them and for you." This verse carries such incredible weight. It perfectly captures everything we've been unpacking. Think about that helpless infant, or that simple fish. They aren't carrying or securing their own food through sheer brute strength or cunning schemes, are they? No, they are relying entirely on a system so much larger than themselves. This verse directly connects that scientific concept of compensatory balance to a divine assurance. It's telling us that this system of providing for the weak, it's not some random accident of nature. It's a deliberate, divine guarantee.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to take out into the world with you. Have you personally ever noticed a creature in nature that just somehow survives despite entirely lacking strength? And more importantly, what does observing that tell you? The next time you're outside, don't just automatically look for the strongest or the fastest animals. Take a second to look for the small, the helpless, the incredibly simple creatures that are somehow absolutely thriving. When you see them, remember this explainer. Remember that they are walking or swimming proof of a profound reverse balance in nature. It's a system where true provision comes not from our own raw power, but from a much higher, conscious source of sustenance. Anyway, thank you so much for exploring this amazing concept with me. Keep observing, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.